You weren't supposed to notice this, but it's happening right now in plain sight. Gold is bleeding, silver is sliding, and the mainstream will call it normal market movement. But if you understand what this really is, you'll realize this isn't selling, this is a message, a signal, a controlled detonation designed to move wealth from the unprepared to the insiders who planned it months ago. Because when gold and silver sell off at the start of a new week, it's not random, it's never random, it's a liquidity event, it's a psychological operation, and most people are walking straight into it without even knowing they're being guided. If you want real financial truths they don't teach, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what's coming, because what I'm about to say will change the way you see money forever. Right now, the world is standing on the edge of a silent reset. Not the kind that comes with alarms and breaking news banners, but the kind that happens quietly, behind price candles and economic headlines. The kind where the public panics and the elite reposition. Gold and silver are not just metals, they are mirrors, they reflect fear, they expose trust, they reveal what people believe about the future. So when they drop, when the so-called safe havens start selling off, you have to ask one question: who is selling and who is buying? Because retail investors don't move gold like this. They don't have that kind of weight. They don't wake up on Monday morning with billions ready to unload. This is institutional, this is strategic, this is the money you never see, and it always comes with a trap. Here's the hidden truth most people never learn. Markets don't move on logic, they move on liquidity. Price is not truth, price is a tool. It's used to lure, to scare, to flush out weak hands. Think about it. Gold sells off, and the average person thinks, maybe it's over. Maybe it's breaking down. Silver drops and they think, maybe demand is collapsing. And that emotional reaction, that hesitation, is exactly what the system feeds on. Because the real game is not about metals, it's about positioning before the next wave. And this week, the wave is building. The sell-off continuing into the new week isn't just a chart pattern, it's a psychological cleansing, a liquidity sweep. Institutions need something retail doesn't understand. They need you to feel uncertain. They need you to doubt value. They need you to sell at the worst possible moment, because the greatest wealth transfers in history never happen when people feel confident. They happen when people feel afraid. Let me tell you how it works. When markets get unstable, when inflation eats currencies alive, when debt becomes unpayable, the elite don't panic. They plan. They create exits. They build positions silently while everyone else is distracted by noise. Gold and silver are part of that plan, but not in the way most people think. The public sees gold as protection. The elite see gold as control, because gold is one of the few assets that exists outside the system. It cannot be printed. It cannot be fabricated by central banks. It is real. And in a world of fake money, real becomes dangerous. So what happens? They suppress it, they shake it, they smash the price down just enough to create doubt, just enough to break the crowd, just enough to clear the field, and then they accumulate. That's the first cliffhanger most people miss. This sell-off is not weakness, it's preparation. And silver. Silver is even more brutal. Silver is the most psychologically manipulated metal on Earth because it's both money and industrial power. It sits between worlds, and that makes it a battlefield. When silver drops, it's not just investors selling. It's institutions controlling the narrative of future scarcity. They don't want people piling in too early. They want access, they want supply, and they want you out of the way. Now let's go deeper, because gold and silver are only the surface layer. Underneath, the real game is currency decay. Every dollar you hold is slowly dissolving, not overnight, not dramatically, silently. Inflation isn't an accident, it's a policy. It is the most sophisticated wealth extraction tool ever invented. It rewards debtors, it punishes savers, it transfers purchasing power upward year after year, while the average person thinks it's just higher prices. Gold and silver are the scoreboard of that decay. So when they sell off, ask yourself, does that mean inflation is gone? Or does it mean the elite are creating a discount before the next phase? Because resets don't begin with explosions. They begin with repositioning. Now bring crypto into this, because crypto is not separate. It's connected. The whales, the institutions, the shadow money, they play both worlds. They move from metals to digital assets, from fiat to hard stores of value, from panic to profit. Crypto whales don't chase price. They create price. They engineer liquidity traps. They wait for retail emotions to peak. Then they strike. And the same pattern is happening here. Gold drops, silver drops, crypto volatility spikes, retail gets confused, they freeze, they sell, they FOMO into the wrong thing, and the elite quietly harvest. This is why the mind is the real battlefield. The market is not numbers. The market is psychology. Fear makes people liquidate bottoms. Greed makes people buy tops. Media amplifies both. The media is not information. It's emotional programming. When gold is up, they'll call it a bubble. When gold is down, they'll call it dead. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters what makes you react. Because reaction is predictable. Reaction is profitable. Disciplined investors don't get exploited. Emotional investors do. And most people don't realize the greatest manipulation is internal. It's not the chart. It's your mind. Now here's the deeper reveal. The sell-off continuing into the week is about liquidity cycles. Big money needs cash before major moves, before crashes, before repricing events. They raise liquidity by pushing down safe havens temporarily. They create margin stress. They trigger stops. They force selling. Then they rotate. This is the cycle. Flush, accumulate, reprice, repeat. Asset repricing is not a theory. It's history. Every major crisis ends the same way. The public loses trust. Central banks respond. Money gets printed. Currencies weaken. Hard assets surge. But only after the trap. Only after the shakeout. And we are in the shakeout right now. Gold and silver are being tested, not as assets, as psychological endurance trials. Can you hold value while the world tells you it's collapsing? Can you think long-term while everyone screams short-term? That's the separation line between retail and elite. Now, here comes the twist. The sell-off is not about gold. It's about confidence in the system. Because if gold rises too fast, it exposes the lie. It tells the world fiat is dying. It tells the world central banks have lost control. So they manage the optics. They manage the narrative. They engineer sell-offs at key moments, like the start of a week, when attention resets, when money flows realign, when retail is emotionally vulnerable. This is not trading. This is financial theater. And behind the curtain, insiders are positioning for something much larger. The silent wealth transfer, the reset without an announcement, the moment when paper loses meaning, and real value returns with a vengeance. That's why this matters now. Because gold and silver are not just assets. They are warnings. They are whispers from the system. And the system is whispering right now. It's telling you something is coming, something the media won't name yet, something institutions are already preparing for. The disciplined will see this sell-off as opportunity. The emotional will see it as fear. And that difference, that single difference, creates the next generation of winners and losers. So what's the elite lesson here? Never follow the crowd's emotions, never trust surface-level narratives, understand liquidity, understand cycles, understand that markets are designed to confuse you, because confusion creates compliance, and compliance creates profit for someone else. The moment you stop reacting, you start seeing, and once you see, you can't unsee it. Gold and silver selling off into a new week isn't the end. It's the setup. It's the quiet before repricing. It's the elite moving pieces while the public stares at headlines. So here's my question for you. Do you think this sell-off is real weakness or a deliberate trap before the next major move? Drop your answer in the comments and send this to someone who needs to hear it because most people are sleepwalking through the biggest financial mind game of their lives. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close because the next phase is always revealed after the crowd looks away. And remember this, the market doesn't punish stupidity, it punishes emotion. And the ones who control emotion control everything.